The Cruelty of Joseph Kony, a story of sorrow and survival. In the heart of northern Uganda, where the dense jungles meet wide-open plains, there lived a people who once thrived in peace. This land, kissed by the golden sun, should have been a place of joy. But then came Joseph Kony, a man who claimed to be fighting for God, yet left only pain in his wake. With a Bible in one hand and blood on the other, Kony led the Lord's Resistance Army, LRA, a force twisted by his will and a terror that haunted the lives of thousands. Kony was no ordinary warlord. He called himself a prophet, declaring that God spoke to him through spirits and gave him the mission to cleanse the land. But what he brought was far from holy. He claimed his mission was divine, yet it was carried out with unthinkable brutality. His soldiers, many of them children, marched into villages with orders to kill, kidnap, and destroy. As whispers spread, so did the tales of his dark powers, of how he used African magic to fortify himself, how he could disappear at will, and how he evaded capture time and time again. In one small village lived a girl named Grace. She was just 13 when the horrors of Kony's war reached her doorstep. Grace was the daughter of devout Christian parents, and her childhood had been filled with hymns, Bible stories, and the warm embrace of her family's love. But one night, the peace of their home was shattered. Kony's soldiers stormed the village, setting homes ablaze and snatching children from their beds. Grace, along with dozens of others, was taken into the jungle. There, she became one of Kony's child soldiers, forced to bear arms and commit atrocities she could never have imagined. But through it all, she held tightly to her faith, whispering the Lord's Prayer every night as she lay on the hard earth, hoping that God had not abandoned her. Kony, it was said, could not be touched. Multiple times, the Ugandan military had come close to capturing him, only for him to vanish like smoke. In the dead of night, soldiers would move in on his camps, sure they had him cornered, only to find nothing but empty tents and smoldering fires. Each time, Kony would reappear days later, as if he had walked through the walls of the jungle itself. People whispered that he had made pacts with spirits, that his body was impervious to bullets, and that he could disappear at will, an evil force with supernatural powers. There were stories told around the fires at night of how, on at least 5 occasions, military forces had tracked him down, only to lose him at the last second. He would be just ahead of them, and then, as if the earth itself swallowed him, he would vanish. No one knew how he did it, but fear of his magic spread like wildfire. But the magic he claimed to wield could not hide the truth of his cruelty. Kony ordered his soldiers to mutilate civilians, forcing young boys to kill their own parents to prove their loyalty. The jungle became a place of nightmares, where the cries of the lost echoed through the trees. And yet, amid the despair, there were those like Grace who refused to lose hope. She would never forget the day she escaped. It was a night like any other, the air thick with the heat of the jungle, the sky above dark and starless. Grace and a group of other children had been ordered to march through the night. But as they walked, she felt something stir inside her, an urge to run, to break free. With a silent prayer, she took a chance. Slipping into the shadows, she ran, her heart pounding in her chest, her legs burning with exhaustion. She did not stop until she reached the safety of a nearby village. Grace's escape was a miracle, but it was also a reminder that no power, not even Kony's dark magic, could crush the human spirit. Over the years, she heard stories of how Kony continued to evade arrest. He had vanished from the clutches of Ugandan forces, the United Nations, and even U.S. Special Forces, each time disappearing just before they could capture him. 5, 6, 7 times. It didn't matter how many. He always slipped away. But no matter how many times Kony disappeared, the strength of those who survived him could not be hidden. Grace found refuge in a Christian rehabilitation center, where she began to heal from the scars of her past. The memories of what she had been forced to do would never fade, but neither would her faith. She had escaped, not just physically, but spiritually, from the grip of Kony's lies. Joseph Kony claimed to be a man of God, but his actions were those of a man lost to evil. He twisted religion to suit his own violent ends, and his powers of disappearance became the stuff of legend. But as Grace found, there was a power far greater than Kony's, the power of love, of faith, of a heart that refuses to give in to darkness. Grace, and others like her, became a testament to the resilience of the human soul. For every child Kony took, for every life he destroyed, there were those who survived, who carried on with the hope that one day, justice would come. And though Kony may have evaded capture time and time again, the stories of those who overcame his cruelty will forever stand as proof that even in the face of the darkest evil, there is light.